That's the verdict. So far, Game of Thrones sucks and Rick and Morty is awesome. So I guess we'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, probably more of the same, I would guess.
Yeah. Spoilers, you guys.
Your social medias, guys. Let's wrap this up.
I am Mr. Kyle Bogart on the best goddamn I am Mr. Kyle Bogart on the only Instagram account where you can watch Armen watching this week's episode of Game of Thrones.
That's true.
That's true. Crazy. I need to start following you. I am at Cliff Bogart at an Instagram account.
I am at a Supersonic Man on Twitter, Instagram, etc. And I host Hot Tag, your pro wrestling podcast that you can find on iTunes, Stitcher, and etc.
And I am at Armen Hoists. Congratulations to Brent Fikowski and Tia Claire Toomey for winning the CrossFit Games, and to me for earning $1 million for calling it.
Are those really your picks?
Those are my picks.
Oh, we should have gotten deeper into that.
Oh, well, you guys didn't want to fucking talk about it, so
we wanted to talk about it, but we didn't make picks.
Yeah, that's fine.
We can keep going though.
No, it's too late. I have shit to do.
But Tia Claire Toomey, you think is
that's my pick?
Why are you saying that?
Suddenly, Kyle is intrigued.
You don't get more money for picking like the lower ranked people, so you must really.
No. Well, okay, so the $1 million is if you get the top 10, and top 5 correct in order. And so I think a lot of people are going to be picking Katrin, which bracket buster knocks him out. And a lot of people are going to pick Matt, bracket buster, take him out. I think Tia and Brent are going to do it. I also just think that they have the capacity to do it.
Interesting. You think Brent has the capacity to beat Matt?
100%.
Really?
He's proven it.
In what way?
By winning 4 CrossFit Games events last year as a rookie.
Yeah. Didn't he at regionals, though? He had some good wins, but he had some lower place finishes, right, at the regionals?
He won his region this year.
Oh, I remember, but yeah, interesting.
I think
the key with Matt Frazier, real quick. Oh my God, we keep going and talking for too long.
Bullshit.
Yeah, about the thing we're supposed to be talking.
Exactly. But real quick, guys, for CrossFit shit. Yeah, the key to beating Matt Frazier, if anyone beats Matt Frazier, is someone who has the capacity to actually win events over Matt Frazier. The person most likely to win the most events that Frazier won't is
3 things. It's 3 things. You have to win events at the CrossFit Games. You have to be able to stay within a few places of Matt in the events that he does well in, which is everything else. And in the event or events where Matt does not do well, you have to be able to capitalize. So I think there's only a handful of people that can do any one of those 3, and I think the only athlete that can do all 3 if the chips fall in his favor is Brent Fikowski.
Interesting. Where do you see Vellner's shortcomings being? Because he often seems to best
outdoors.
Outdoor stuff?
Yeah, outdoor stuff. The stuff that Fikowski did exceptionally well in was like the odd objects and the outdoorsy stuff.
Yeah, and there's a swim this year as well. And so
Vellner didn't do super hot last year on the swim. And he has been working on his swimming.
Yeah, but he's not going to beat Brent.
But he's not going to beat Brent.
Yeah.
And so I just think the more outdoor stuff, the more weird stuff, the more
they're going light on the barbells this year.
The more stuff like that they throw out, the more it favors Fikowski because of what his capabilities are. The less couplets and triplets that we see, they're like barbells and muscle ups or whatever, the less of those that we see and the more of like the weird events that we see, the more Fikowski's going to win.
Interesting.
And I think we're going to see more of those this year than we have in the past.
Yeah, that will be interesting. I hope that's the case because I like Brent. Reebok has faith in him. They did a pretty sweet commercial with him.
They did a pretty sweet commercial.
What about Tia Claire Toomey? I mean, she's really good, obviously.
I think the same thing applies to Tia.
Yeah.
I think her capacity shines in like outdoor events and in events that have weirder objects. She's not great at sprinting. She's not great at she's not as good as Katrin at like something like double DT. But I think in things like strongman events, in things like longer endurance events, they're like swimming, running, biking, in obstacle course, her natural athleticism is going to shine.
Nice.
I think those are the exact places where she's going to be able to again capitalize over Katrin because Katrin is so fucking good at everything else that you have to be able to take her on things like sprints, odd objects, and athleticism. And it's like, again, there just aren't very many people who can. Cara Webb can probably do it. Carrie Pierce will get very close. But I think the only person that has proven that she has the ability to do it, like Sarah Sigmundsdottir, if the events were mostly classic CrossFit, quote unquote, would win the CrossFit Games. But the more of those weird events are thrown out there, the more of the things that are thrown out there that are more gamesy as opposed to regionals like, the more it favors someone like Tia, in my opinion. And also, I just think that, I think that they have interesting arcs. If Tia wins after 2 years of taking second place, and Brent wins his second year after placing 4th last year, I think those are really interesting stories.
That would be very, very cool. Well, I'm in favor of it. You've convinced me. We now know who will win the CrossFit Games.
That's right.
It's almost like we should have talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not out of it. We can just hang out, guys.
I tried.
We can just hang out.
No one wanted
I'm
to.
loving this bonus time we've got.
Bonus
time. Bonus boner time.
Bonus time.
Times.
Bonus time where we talk about the
thing that we
They were
should have been talking about the
whole
entire
thing that this
show.
podcast is supposed to be about.
Anyway, thank you so much, folks, for listening, and we will be back next week with our 2nd annual Reebok CrossFit Games recap show.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Later.